Thank you. Welcome back after the lunch break. And we start the afternoon session with a panel discussion about V4 possibilities in quantum technologies. And first, let me introduce the five prominent scientists that we invited for this panel discussion and who kindly accepted to join. I go in alphabetic order. First one is Ádám Gali from the Research Center for Physics in Budapest and also from the Budapest University of Technology. The second speaker is panelist is Igor Jex from the Czech Technical University in Prague, who is actually the representative in the EU quantum flagship within the of Czech Republic within this quantum community network, and also Ádám is that. Then the next one is Tamás Kis from the Wigner Research Center for Physics, who is the head of the Quantum Information and Complex Quantum Systems Group at Wigner. Then Łukasz Rudnicki from the International Center for Theory of Quantum Technologies in Gdansk, who is also a representative in the Quantum Community Network for Poland. And finally, Mario Zeman, who is always the last in any alphabetic order except when I'm there, who is from the Institute of Physics, Czech Academy of Sciences in Bratislava. And he's actually also a representative in the Quantum Community Network of the flagship. So let me share. So let's, before we go on and talk, I mean, this is like the audience is mostly from Eastern Europe, Central and Eastern Europe, but also there are other people. So maybe we should, I should introduce what V4 is. And actually, I just took out the definition, what I found in the official homepage of the V4 collaboration. So I'm going to read it because it's instructive. So the V4 group or Visegrad group is a cultural and political alliance of 4 Central and Eastern European countries, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia, which was formed in December 1991. The alliance aims to advance cooperation in economic, cultural, scientific, educational, military, and energy affairs. And final sentence, Visegrad was chosen as a location, it's a city in Hungary, for the initial summits as an intentional allusion to the medieval Congress of Visegrad, where there was a treaty between John I of Bohemia, Charles I of Hungary, and Casimir III of Poland in 1335. And
Sultan, we cannot hear you.
So I don't want to enter, but I think that we can probably start the discussion. No, what do you think?
Yeah, sorry, do you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
sorry,
you.
I have this network issue, so I try to speak very little bit, not too much. So, so this alliance was formed exactly to address this this center of EU and periphery EU of this dichotomy between that. So, maybe we should start from this broad view, of course, in science about this periphery, and then focus into quantum technologies. And I don't know, let's start with Tamás. What do you think about this dichotomy of the center and periphery?
So thank you, Zoltan. And so I remember a meeting in Warsaw several years ago when people were thinking about this quantum technology flagship, which became later this flagship in the EU. And that was a meeting, I think it was not Visegrad, but mostly Eastern Central European countries were there. I remember Bulgaria was also represented. And so there we discussed these issues of collaboration and common projects and so on. And there I had explained this idea, which is not coming from physics, but from a more general point of view. So if you have some kind of empire or some kind of a center, a country, like within Hungary, for example, we have Budapest as the capital city. And there are other cities like important cities like Szeged and Pécs, because you have universities there. But so if you are in Szeged, for example, and you want to travel to Pécs, then you find yourself in a geometrical triangle, more or less equal sides. But from Szeged to Pécs, you travel like first you go to Budapest, and then from Budapest you go to Pécs, instead of going from Szeged directly to Pécs. And so this is the problem of the periphery. So if the peripheral points are connected like in a graph only through a center, it's not so convenient. It's more convenient, I think, and useful if we can connect directly. And so within the EU, the quantum technologies are now an important topic. So I think this V4, if there is anything good in it, then probably it would be good to help these peripheral connections. So that was my idea, basically.
Okay. And okay, let's come back to this later, or maybe now. I mean, in which sense do you think, what type of joint things would you think the V4 could be doing, for example, which doesn't go through the center, or not only through the center, but that there is an interconnection in V4?
So I can give one very specific example, which is a current example. So there is the quantum communication network, which is a grand project, so to say, and each country submitted a project proposal, and I think it's very useful if we can connect directly these countries and share our experiences related to this quantum communication project.
Tamás, you mean quantum communication infrastructure, QCI?
Yes, I think Tamás is talking about that, right? The EuroQCI project and things around that.
Yes. EuroQCI is the code name for this quantum communication network.
So that's actually, I think, a very nice point. And also maybe the V4 countries can also have like a joint connection to a center or different type of centers of excellence. And I think, Ádám, you have some experience with some joint V4 connection, if I remember, to Japan or something like that in some area, right? You were
Yes. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here, and I'm happy to see you. I'm also, we have an initiative in Hungary called Quantum Information National Laboratory, and also I'm a person who is responsible also for the international connections. Just I'm adding this also, maybe also because that's one reason I'm here. And regarding your question, not related directly to quantum technology, but there was an ongoing program for the V4 countries, but extended with, at that particular case, with Japan. So it was a Japan plus V4 program, which at that particular program was supposed to make a consortium with these countries on the advanced materials. But I would like to share my experience. So very frankly, before this program, I didn't have any direct connection with Polish groups or Czech groups or Slovakian groups. But they invited me, these people, to join this consortium and go together. And actually, this was really flourishing. So after this cooperation, we continued to work independent. When the program was finished, we continued to work. And indeed, without this program, maybe we could not find each other. So this was a very, very big positive surprise to me. And also it was very easy to understand each other because of common cultural background, in my opinion. Whatever we had in the history, but still, I mean, this was really, really, really nice. And, maybe it's too early to state here right now, but I had an idea actually that probably either we can do this V4 together, but we can also think about also to invite another country, like it is it was for the advanced materials, it was at that time with Japan, but I was thinking to do this with the country Israel. And the reason for that is that that probably you could read it in physics today, that in Israel, as you know, the quantum technology or the quantum information science is at very high level, and they initiated the program 2019 with $400 million, and it's just about to finance just the research groups. I'm not talking about the capital from industry. And so it's a small country with a similar size like our countries, but they are kind of bit strong in this field and many groups there. And so I had an idea that if the V4 as a block, because could be comparable in terms of the number of research groups and strengths, maybe comparable to nowadays Israeli and number of groups, or maybe yes, and we can have this kind of cooperation. We may learn. So maybe there are the technologies there, and this connection between the technology and the science is a bit maybe more advanced than in our country, or maybe I cannot talk. I cannot speak of the other countries, but I can tell that this is more advanced than here, and probably this is the case for other countries. So I think it will be mutually beneficial for everyone, and probably that would be better taken than going individually with a single countries, just because of this asymmetry at the moment what we have.
Thanks a lot, Adam. I would support that a lot. Do you have any comments around this? If not, then I would maybe turn to Mario Zeman. So, Mario, I remember you also had some nice ideas about some possible V4 collaborations, and maybe you also had some V4 grants already, because there exist like grants given by these countries to each other.
Yes, thank you. So hello, everybody. Yeah, so it's not only kind of my, I would say, dream or somehow the idea of some joint project, but essentially we were discussing this in some, not exactly with the group of people we are here now, but some other representatives of the people from the countries, so like all these 4 countries. So so somehow what is kind of one of the for science, what is one of the result of this V4 kind of agreement, is that there is also something that is called Visegrad funding. So there is some funding scheme which is providing some grants and projects for all these 4 countries. And I think in past we used to have one relatively small one, through which we organized some local workshops. And this is how I think how we started one of the workshop, which is called like Central Quantum Information Processing. So this was in old times, it was funded by this. One of, I think 2 of the years was funded by this. And also we organized also some school where we kind of get together people at that time, mostly young people in these countries to who were only starting to work in this area. So this was in before 2010, And now kind of what we kind of recently come, also because of this whole quantum flagship initiative and so on. So we know that what is missing what is very nice in some of the countries, that there are some specialized kind of research centers or institutes that are not really like research centers in terms of that there are kind of some permanent employees, but kind of research centers where people are going there, meeting together and spend some few terms there or few months and discuss together some particular subjects. And and there comes an idea that it would be very nice if something like this would also be within this V4 region. So for us, that we will kind of create some institute, and we're also trying on a politicians, I think, in last year or 2 years ago, to somehow get this Visegrad funding to be interested in this idea. But I don't know whether it was the situation that appeared after. It was not successful, but we still have this kind of idea that we will be very happy to kind of, and I think this is not only idea of mine or very few people, but I think it's somehow it would be nice to have this common effort to kind of to try to build some research center of this type also in this area of the world, And then it will be open also for other countries that are also in this currently named as Quantum Eastern Europe, but also for other people. And also this what will be, I think, very beneficial for us would be that it will also kind of ensure that there will be some people coming from abroad, from outside of this area, who are kind of experts in some fields that we are only beginning with. So that will be also a good way how to transfer the knowledge, experience, and so on. So this is roughly what we are also thinking about within this V4 collaboration, which in an informal way currently.
But that totally actually aligns with Adam's idea as well. So we can have this V4 center and then or this V4 quantum collaboration, and then that could sort of be connected to other quantum hubs, let's say
we could
Israel or
it will be possible to have like a joint program with Israel people that will be meeting together and having some.
I forgot to say something very important with this program, which we have with Japan. Sorry for taking the word, and I will be silent.
No, of course.
But it's very important that I forgot to tell that particular V4 and Japan program was not about visiting each other. It was a real scientific program and it was on the base that each country's agencies or funding agencies shared and provided money for this program in order to run. It's something similar to Quantera. Quantera, as you know, except that there is also some central money from the European Union partially covers. Here, this is not the case, but what I'm trying to say, it was not just about traveling, it was a real scientific project. And I think I like it better that we are trying to do something, real and do research and maybe beyond research.
I think that would be really excellent. And I think there are 2 sides of the same story. So to have this, like to have some research oriented type of collaboration, not like a general one, but there could be also like a let's say, like a general umbrella that could be used, or yes. And actually very important, and it's connected to this, it's about not only about research but also about education. And Igor, thanks for joining us. I mean, among us, I think you are the one who has the biggest by far experience in universities. You have been a dean of your university, and I think you are starting a quantum technology or a quantum information program in Prague as a master, I think. So what do you think? Are there some possibilities in collaboration with respect to, let's say, teaching at university and education in this sense?
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, and I share a lot of opinions which been already expressed, but when I listen to it, so you always have the question of scale, and I have to say what I miss for a long time is that, say, Hungary cancelled, and I think unfortunately also Slovakia cancelled a small mobility program, which you can say is mobility, but I think Tamás and Mario can confirm then that we've done using this rather ridiculous amounts of money. I would not say good, but excellent research, which we essentially built on. That program was stopped in Hungary, I think 8 years ago or 10 years ago, and still we are. I'm personally sorry for that program stopped. Similarly with Slovakia, so we have several things. One of the things which I would use is what Tamás suggested, EuroQCI, because this is a large-scale European initiative where the V4 could really argument with a nation and region-wide impact of this of success of this program for the benefit. If we talk about a bigger partner, I would just like to point out that in the last wave of support for quantum technology, Germany is investing 2 billion into quantum technology, is building 4 new quantum technology-oriented institutes. So at least based now on my experience in the Czech Republic, what I would like to use this really large-scale promotion for quantum technologies Europe-wise, that our government, now I'm talking about the Czech government, understands the importance of quantum technology. And based on that, and using, say, the V4 initiatives where every and each of us could participate in a, say, appeal to the V4 governments that this is something which should be supported locally and regionally, would be of help. And coming to education, this is another facet of the problem. In Prague, at the Faculty of Nuclear Sciences, we are already for 2 years running a bachelor and master program in quantum technologies. This is added by a PhD program, which is also running for the 2nd year. And what we would like to start is a quantum information master program.
Ah, I see.
The difference is that while quantum technologies are what we, all of us here, appreciate is physics-oriented quantum technology, and at least I personally feel much weaker in the information component. I see a lot of potential in this informatics application. So this jointly with the electrical engineering and information technology faculties, we would like to start with governmental support. So what I would love to see is that the V4 and the scientists and research institutes in V4 do both. What Tamás suggests, this local direct links, and then with the initiative from the V4 government, say a distributed information center, which would have real but coming in and out virtual partners. We could also then look, say we've forgotten about Austria, but Austria is also very strong. And what I think Austria could teach us is to have efficient transfer to industry. There are a number of companies where then also with respect, say, to students, when a student would ask, okay, so I graduate from quantum technology, what can I do? And, you can offer him tens of companies which will be interested in offering him a job and so on. Then the whole thing would work, I think, efficiently.
Thanks.
So I'm not certain I did answer your question, but
no, I mean, this is the discussion. I think those points that you mentioned were great. Thanks a lot, and I agree. I mean, Austria comes up a lot in all kind of V4 discussions. It's almost like a honorary V4 member, but actually in the quantum technologies, it's even it should come up even stronger, because you are quite right that they are very strong in that field. So there could be a collaboration there. And I also want to mention that actually I know about your program, because a very small part of the program I hope will use some knowledge about our FPGA quantum computer simulators that actually there was a lightning talk about that by Peter Rakita.
Yeah, Zoltan, this is another thing where certainly the countries which are in V4 have a certain piece of history which is common. On the other hand, I'm always proud to see how strong the groups in the V4 are. I have another friend, a Hungarian, which is from New York, which sometimes did phrase it. They even sometimes don't know how good they are. Yes. So I would, you most probably guess when I say New York who that distinguished Hungarian is.
I'm already knowing it. Yes.
Yeah, and so this is the other thing. We should be aware of the strengths we have. We must work on the weaknesses we have, and we are aware of those. But we should also use the chances which are now showing up. And I think in close collaboration along the lines which we know work and we use them, we can achieve a lot of positive.
Thanks a lot for this. So, I mean, these collaborations ideas, I think, should be somehow merged. And I'm actually now turning to Łukasz. This merging of this collaboration could be perhaps done on the level of those big quantum collaborations within the countries. Like we have this, what Ádám talked about, this Quantum Information National Laboratory of Hungary, and there are different type of similar groups or umbrella organizations or projects in the V4 countries. What are your thoughts on this and previous discussions what we had?
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, indeed, I wanted to say a few words about politics and management rather than particular research projects, because so what I liked very much, like before in the discussion, was that we all together were kind of compared with Israel in terms of potential. But then the question is, the question is, are we all together able to defend our interests, able to react, able to organize ourselves with the same or at least similar efficiency as Israel is able to do? And the answer is obvious, but just to strengthen it, let us look at the particular examples. So Israel was in a very difficult position because in these new work programs, Israel, the UK, Norway, and Switzerland, it was not obvious for those countries that they will be including quantum flagship. So the most efficient country from those four to solve this was Israel, because they are very well organized on the political level. So from the government perspective, there were actions done very quickly and very efficiently. People were engaged. There is a good passage of information from scientists to the government. Everything works well because they know that that's how they make money. That's how they increase influence. This is something which I would dream if we can at least partially achieve in the future, because this is more and more important. For instance, quantum flagship and other initiatives, these are also opportunities in which one can spread the resources, because there are resources, and the question is, where do these resources go? And they are opportunities to spread them. But does it happen? Does it happen? No, it doesn't happen. And there are many situations in which it doesn't happen in a specifically bad way. I understand that sometimes if there are research projects which are very advanced, maybe sometimes there is difficult to, for instance, say that only we organize a project which is sufficiently, let's say, suitable for a particular call. But there are also coordination and support actions, which are supposed to support quantum initiatives across Europe. Exactly. And people and most of us are in QCN, so we should know how the things worked. And maybe it's not a good moment to tell publicly everything, but there are many things to be done in the future in order not to let it happen as it happened the last time, and that we all together can work such that we protect our joint interests. And this is the point we need to achieve, I think, on the general level. Of course, this is difficult because we have too many meetings, all of us. We have too many meetings, so we don't want more meetings. We don't want to have now every second week another meeting of 10 people discussing all the time the same things, because this is not what we want to do. Still, we need to, all together, we need to think about some efficient way of doing joint politics on the European level, so that when we have this periphery and the center, there's Brussels, okay, there's Berlin, and that we can make a politics which is together, so that our voice is better directed, and in case there is something which we can improve for our common benefit, then our voice is listened, at least to the extent we could do this. This is, I think, even more important than particular projects which you can do together. Thank you.
I agree with this, but on the other hand, the problem is that such decision and such organizational changes can only be done at very high level. So, I mean, we have to influence maybe the ministries or government officials to do this, or do you think that we can do it ourselves? This type of
well, first of all, what I'm thinking now loudly about this problem. So as we have this V4, I understand that we doesn't have V4 in quantum science in a more formal way, like
exactly. This is what we wanted to have at some point. Yes,
exactly. So starting with that, we can contact the big, because all of us, we can contact the ministries in a certain way, but we have nothing to say in terms of our all together. I can contact the ministry and say about my opinion, but I am not able to say that we or the group of representatives of this V4 countries that we have a common idea or common statement. Maybe there is a right moment to think how to let's say maybe even formalize it, or at least structuralize it, so that our voice can be more joint whenever necessary. Because otherwise it's very difficult. If we approach individually, then this is not what we discussed together. Yes.
I actually align a little bit with you. Any comments to what Łukasz said?
May I have one? What I think that we are discussing, as Igor said, Professor Jex said, there are very different levels, so scales, he says. what I was discussing was kind of bottom-up type of collaborations to increase this, because I believe at the end of the day, if we create any institution, if there is no real, how to say, background or no real collaboration behind that, it will be just like a Potemkin, building. So you know what I'm trying to say. So I believe the bottom-up scale is also very important to strengthen our cooperations on projects or real projects where we work together. That is one issue. And in this scale, this doesn't require a huge money. So let's say if we want to, finance like 5 to 8 projects, then that it doesn't require a lot of extra money to start this. And there is another issue, is for instance, on the opposite side, I can say in another scale, is the Euro QCI. But this Euro QCI are usually not for research, it's already for well-established technologies. And I can ask here maybe a poetic question. So why we are buying black boxes from a Swiss company to build up this quantum information network? Black boxes are the detectors. So basically, what we are doing, that we are buying a lot. Euro QCI money goes like 90% on buying from a single company these boxes. And I'm asking the question: in this
Adam,
field,
you can always buy it from China. They are happy to sell.
No. I mean, Euro QCI is not allowed to buy from anywhere. But anyway, I have a question here. Is in this region while we are discussing, are there any single company or anything who are able to make this? And instead of buying something from Switzerland, there are some producers, some manufacturers that we can, a vendor that we can choose as an alternative. So this is another scale. So it's not a research case, a research development technology. And I believe I can see that we are lag behind, because if I'm asking this, maybe in Israel, we decided even to build up, in a quantum computer there. So I would be surprised if the answer would not be yes. There could be companies that can do that, but is there any company in Europe and in particular in V4 countries that can do that? And also the reason I believe that the government officials are not always, so they can think also, so they are not always, so they are looking at that how the society can directly benefit if they put some money to somewhere. And in maybe it's different in Czechia or Czech Republic or in Poland and also in Slovakia. But when they are looking at this, whether we have, as Igor said, do we have any companies here that can be later on benefit or the society can directly benefit? And you would say no. So it's a kind of difficult question, but I think we need to also to use bottom-up projects in order to generally increase the just the number of people who are working on this at all, because it's also, as Igor also mentioned, it has to be related also the number of people can work in this area at all, and also to find a way that someone is interested in a kind of entrepreneur or have such people that are also interested in transforming this to technology, to give them an environment where they can do that. And we can find the companies, there will be companies who could enter also European scale. So the quantum technology flagships are more and more industrial scale. And that's why there is a big chance that if we cannot join, also not only with research, but also with technology, then it cannot be in the forefront of all of this. So this is my comment here.
Okay, Igor, yes.
Yeah, there's one additional issue to this. First, say similarly, like in the Czech Republic, Hungary had, say, immediately because the group Tamás was coming from originally did grow crystals, wasn't it so?
I think
so
yes.
there was a tradition and so on. What I want to point out, there is one issue which I learned from, say, the last 4 to 5 years, because we've been in Prague desperate to convince, with colleagues from Olomouc and Brno, to convince our government to invest into quantum technologies. And the basic issue now, which becomes even more urgent, is security. Security and safety, and through this, because quantum technologies offer safety and security, say in communication, this is one of the points where we can then talk to our governments and convince them. At least in the Czech Republic it worked, at least that's my impression, that when you tell them using quantum technologies you can have a market and you can guarantee the government that it can talk to each other in a secure way, they start to listen. Otherwise, for many years for our government, quantum technologies was a fancy name to get money into basic research. So we should use also the present situation, explain why is it also not nation but region-wise, I mean V4, important to communicate, to use the latest technologies, and also not to lose the pace, but not to lose the track for the technological environment, which is the technological progress which is going on everywhere. If we talk to politicians, we have to talk in terms they really understand and care about. They will never care about building science or scientific connections. But when we say we are offering the scientific and technological competence to be competitive and safe, then I think they will listen.
Thanks a lot. So we are just getting heated up, but we have to end. The time is very short, but I think it was a very nice discussion despite the technical difficulties.
But Mario wanted to say something.
If I may say kind of
very shortly.
Short, yeah. So just to make it also positive. So I think that we need to also say that we are able to do these things also in this area, yeah, all these things. So we are, for example, we are trying to do detectors within this EuroQCI, and I don't know whether we'll be, okay, I'm sure we will be successful. Whether we will be competitive, I don't know, yeah, with the other, but we are trying. I know that other people are trying to do sources, yeah, fibers. So all these things we can do, and we are ready basically to collaborate with any kind of companies who are interested. And also we can do the software. We have people here, and important is to basically attract people not to leave this area to that part where there is currently probably more money. We need to work on that the money will be also here and we can use them, because we do have this, we can build the experience and we can also create something here. Yeah. It was too short.
Thanks a lot. So actually we should end soon, but before we end,
Lukáš.
Okay.
Yes.
Very, very shortly now.
Very shortly, but just to comment on all that, I would like to say that even if there is because there are many companies working on many things, even if there is a particular company who will build this black box here, the black boxes will be bought from Switzerland. Okay, and this is because the voice from here is not heard enough well. So I would say one thing, of course, is to build the environment and standard environment here, but another one, which must be complementary, is to organize our joint voice and transmit it better, because the fact that you build something is not enough that you can sell it. This is the point. So I think we need to pay attention on that fact that we are not heard sufficiently well as a group of countries. And not only we, because this applies to all widening countries. So our countries and all other countries which are in this widening group. So they are not heard sufficiently well.
I agree. Time is running out short. I don't know if there is any question from the audience. We got very nice comments, actually. I'm not going to read these, but They are very interesting. So I guess there is no question among the comments. So actually, I would like to close this discussion. Thank you very much for accepting to join that, following the suggestion of Vukash that maybe this type of discussions should be followed up in these V4 countries, maybe not in shops or in panels, but let's say somehow to push forward this collaboration. And there might be many opportunities. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thank
your
you
time.
for having me. Bye.
Bye.